My name is E.J. Hoyt. I'm currently the Newington Fire Chief. Been here a couple years. Took over for Darin when he passed away. I've known Darin most of his life. I joined the Newington Fire Department back in 1993. And he was the kid that was coming around the station, hanging out and riding in on his bike, and he fell in love with the place. You know, he's a town resident kid, and he was great to have around. He really was. He was fun to laugh with. He was always cracking jokes and everything, and he's truly missed. He really is. He's got a great family, and they've been very, very supportive. And we help them as much as they help us, and to have them around and to be there for us is great. So when he started coming around the station, he started just being a kid hanging out, and then he became an explorer and worked his way up through, with the Boy Scouts through the Explorer program. And then once he turned 18, he could get on and started going through the classes. And then just worked his way around between the fire department and then being also part of the Board of Fire Engineers, helping out the town that way. So he was a towny kid. He was there to help out in any way he could, and he just wanted to help people. He worked his way up through the ranks, and then he got brought on as a deputy chief of fire prevention and inspections. And then through retirements and people leaving, he ended up moving up to chief. So that's what he wanted to do. He set his plan when he was young, and that's what he wanted to do. So.
My name's Pat Moynihan. I'm the assistant fire chief here in Newington. Darin actually hired me as a lieutenant he took me from Dover, so he hired me into Newington in 2018. I didn't know Darin really well when he hired me, but became great friends. Great guy. I never knew Darin when he didn't have cancer, so I can't tell you about that before, but I can tell you that he would just always be there, even when he was having treatments, when he was supposed to be in bed. If we went to a fire, he'd get in the command car and he'd drive to the fire, have to sit in the car and couldn't get out of it because he's not supposed to even be out of bed, but he was just always there. He was someone for the firefighters, someone for the guys, and it's a shame that he got cancer and passed, but we can do this in his memory.
I am Danny McCooey. I know Darin through my husband, John. He is best friends with Darin. He is also lieutenant in the Newington Fire Department. So he was very close with Darin, and he was a very good, friend and part of our family. He was a handful. He he was a handful. We'll just kind of keep it right there. But no, he was a good guy who had an infectious laugh. I think if there's one thing that I will always remember about Darin, and one thing that I can't watch in videos of Darin, there's a specific one where he's sitting and talking about the fire program or academy or something that was posted very closely after his passing. That laugh that he has is just infectious. Whenever he was at my house late at night playing Call of Duty with my husband, that laugh would wake me up. So he's that's probably the one thing that I miss the most about him, is just that laugh. It's pretty awesome. And he was a good friend of my husband. They were close. They got each other through a lot of different stuff, so it was good.
I'm Chris Wynn. I was great friends with Darin. He was an awesome guy. He really was. Two beautiful girls, beautiful wife, Jen, and I met Darin back in 98. My father purchased a house next to his parents, and the day we moved in, he come right over and introduced himself. He was not shy one bit, and he come over and asking me who I was and if I liked snowmobiling and four-wheeling and all that stuff. He was a motorhead like myself. So he, ever since then, we hit it off, and I do landscaping and he did construction, and we helped each other out over the years, and he was really a great person. I love the guy, and he's definitely truly missed, and have a special place for him in my heart.
My name's Rachel Blonigan.
Darin was my first friend here in Newington when I moved after college. He and my husband were best friends growing up, and in turn we became friends. Darin was one of the most boisterous, happy people I've ever met. I love him to pieces. Getting to see our kids be born at the same time and grow up being friends still. I know they're only 7 at the oldest, but it means the world to us to be able to have them have that time together and be together. Darin brought me out of my shell and helped show me Newington and meet lots of people, and he was one of my first true friends here in New Hampshire. Miss him every day. Matt and I both got to be in their wedding, and that was a night to remember. Lots of dancing, lots of partying, lots of friends, great time, lots of pool time. Love him to pieces and miss him so much.
My name is Jeffrey Pelkey. I'm blessed to be the chaplain here for the town of Newington Fire Department, which I have been for a number of years. I'm also a firefighter and police officer, and I first met Darin in our fire service careers together. And you know, Darin was really an institution in Newington. Being born and raised here, he had Newington Fire Department in his blood. And I think that as chief, he was able to bring that love of this community to a department that did just what he did his whole life, and that's serve his community. Not only did Darin bring the technical knowledge of fire service to the job, but he brought the feeling of community and family into the department. And that has only grown with EJ and Pat, and the family environment that exists in the Newington Fire Department is probably second to none. And I think the way he did that was he immersed himself in the community he grew up in. He included his family in what happened at the fire department. He encouraged professional growth, all the things that are necessary for a really effective fire department in a small community. And it was really heartwarming to see that. And so Darin's loss, you know, made a huge void in that. And I think we've been very blessed to fill that with 2 command staff officers that really embraced that. And they really continued Darin's vision for this department. And that is family, professionalism, and service to the community. All things that you can't possibly replicate unless you have it in your heart. And so Darin's heart is always at that station. It's always at that station in the actions of the older guys that have been there, in the newer folks that have come along, and in the way they welcome his family in and out of that station like it was their home.
Hi, my name is Laura Sabine. I'm Darin's sister. We grew up. He's my best friend and my hero. And we're just so happy that everybody's here to help support and then support other families as well. So I appreciate everything. The fire community is amazing.
I'm Mary McKay, Darin's aunt, and he was a special guy. We still think of him every day. He was quite a character, even as a little one. And I remember when I was visiting them, because we lived in Maryland, and when we were visiting and staying at their house when they were staying at the farm here on Nimble Hill Road. And I was in the bunk bedroom, cleaning up in there, and I saw this hose coming through the window, and Darin was maybe 3. And I looked out, and he was holding the hose and running it through the window, and I said, from outside, and I said, "What's going on? What are you doing?" He says, "I want to clean the room." And that was Darin. He was always doing things different, but he was a great kid. At 13, he was listening to radio stations on business stations on how you run your business and stuff like that. So he was a different kid. He was a special kid, and he always loved the fire department, and just a great kid. And we loved him very much, and we miss him very much.
My name's Julie Johnson, and I know Darin from the day he was born. I worked with Brenda, his mom. We'd known each other for a little over a year, and I was visiting with her, and we was in her kitchen, and she went into labor for Darin. So that's my favorite memory of Darin. Funny story being is, of course, that was before the internet. That was before texting and instant messaging, and so I gave her the big hug. Can't wait to hear all about Steve Jr. being born. Tell me when he comes. Steve Jr., yeah. So the phone call came and told me when Darin was born. And Darin? Where did Darin come from? But as we all know, Darin was Darin. There was no other Darin. So that was my favorite story of him, the day that he was born. And of course we know he lived his life wonderfully, and he was always cheerful, he was always gracious, and continue to know him for its entire life.
My name is Eric Stoll. I'm Darin's uncle. I married Brenda's sister Lois. Lois passed away, about a year and a half ago. Just a little after Darin's funeral. But what about Darin? Darin, he was a big fella, but he had a heart that was bigger. An example of that is he always arranged to have toys brought from the south down here up to the north. I was born and brought up in Pittsburgh, and I lived in the tropics about 2 towns down from that. So he would bring toys up and deliver them to the fire departments up there. He did this, 2 or 3 years at least, and then it went on after he passed away. One time he brought it up, and he made 2 loads, 2 trips in one year. And the second trip, he broke down right in the Franconia Notch. And it was, I think, about 10 or 15 below zero that night with a wind blowing. This was his second trip that day, and where he broke down. Now he's going through chemo and everything about this time, and he still pursued to bring that second load up. And when it broke down, we don't have good cell coverage up there, very spotty, and right where he broke down in the notch was very poor. He couldn't get out, so he walked a considerable distance until he was picked up by a Lincoln police officer who arranged to relay him down here. So the big guy got home, but he went through living hell. First of all, going through his treatments, and then second of all, those frigid temperatures out there walking. And of course, Darin never wore a coat because he was always hot, and so he was out in the elements, and he made it work. It's that's just Darin Sabine,
I'm Brenda Blonigan, and I am a family friend of Darin's. Darin grew up just around the corner from me, and in fact, he referred to me as Mama B. So I'm Mama B to Darin and Laura. Darin, his laugh was infectious. He loved family. He's such a family person, and we miss him dearly. And we're so honored to be able to have this race in his memory.
My name is Shayla, and I met Darin through Jen and him came to meet me to photograph their wedding. So I did their engagement shoot, their wedding, the birth of their babies, all throughout their lives. I photographed them. Darin and I kind of had like a funny spar, like we were 2 peas in the pod, and we would always talk about hanging out, and maybe never did because, I don't know, just wasn't. And then when he got sick, because of the type of job I had offered to take him to chemo, and we started hanging out and like having lunches together and just talking all the time. And then I became his chemo buddy for his second round. I took him to almost every chemo so that Jen could work. And we became best friends. To say he changed my life is an understatement, because he taught me vulnerability and really how to be there for someone else in all the ways that you could be. To fully love someone 100% for who they were, warts and all. And we shared everything about our lives with each other. There wasn't anything that he didn't know about me or I didn't know about him. And I can honestly say I don't know that I'll ever have another friend as deep as I had with him.
My name is Brenda Sabine, Darin's mom. Just here to say I'm just so thankful for today, and I am so thankful that I had 35 years with my son, and we were together in spirit, and he and I were very close, and I just think that was such an incredible gift that I had. So wish that I had him longer than that, but at least I have his wife and I have his children, which are just very, very special to us. And I just thank God every day for being here and having these memories of our son, and having people around us that love us, a community that cares, and this is what it's all about. A firefighter was one that was Darin's it was his passion, but I tried to discourage him. I really tried to discourage him many, many times. Him being a teenager, he chose not to really hang out and do teenager things, be with his friends. He wanted to hang out at the fire department, be with his fire buddies, his brothers. He always said they were my brothers. He always wanted to help people, and that's what he did. And he was just a very compassionate, caring, dedicated individual, and he loved being with people and having groups of people together, families together. He and I organized a whole lot of events, family reunions, birthday parties. We did it together. He loved to cook. He just was an amazing person.
I'm Steve Sabine. I'm Darin's dad. What can I say about my son? Miss him deeply. As a young teenager, my father once said to me, "I wish I were half the man my father was." And my dad was pretty amazing. And so, what can I say about Darin? Sometimes I wish I was half the man he was. He was pretty amazing. Is amazing. And he'd be very proud of the way he's being memorialized, and that what these events that hopefully will help happen annually will go to help families of other fallen firefighters, policemen, servicemen. I mean, I just miss him deeply, and I could probably tell a lot of stories about him. He wanted to be a firefighter, I think, when he was 4 or 5. He played matchboxes all the time, and constantly hear him woo, 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 and then he got older and joined Fire Explorers, and it was dual scanners in the house. It drove me crazy, but it was his passion and his love, and I was proud of him being a firefighter. It was his passion. His oncologist, when he was being treated, asked him what he was up to, and he said, "I'm doing this, I'm firefighting, and I'm a chief, it's my job." And he said to him, "Why would you be doing the thing that gave you this illness?" He said, "It's what I do." That's just who he was. Amazing human being. I'll miss him always.
I'm Jen, I'm Darin's wife, and obviously it's hard to think of what to, say about a person who meant so much to so many people, obviously myself and our family included, but Darin was the kind of person who made everybody feel at home and welcomed. He gave the best hugs there ever were, and I am sure it has been mentioned or will be mentioned again, but he had a laugh that boomed in the room and echoed, and a voice that carried. You knew he was there before you ever saw him, and he is missed every day, but we know that he lives on in all of us in some way, from a story he told or a memory that we have, and we're all better for knowing him. And those that don't know him, we hope that they start to get to know him through the stories of others and reading stories and seeing photos and videos, and know that he was an important person and he made a difference and an impact, and we all just want to carry that on in honor of him. So thank you to everybody on any walk in life who has supported us in this journey and this craziness of life. And I just hope that one thing we always used to say and still do is to find the sparkle in every day. And no matter how hard the day was or how terrible Darin felt, we always found a way to find a little bit of sparkle to make the day better, and he always did that, and we hope that everybody does that too. So